Look, I thought the Jets were going to win that game yesterday. I picked them on Friday, and I really felt that. The Bucs were banged up. Can you kill that music there, Alex? You get the update music still going on. Thank you. The Bucs, I thought, were banged up. They were played in it's bad enough that these teams can't win a game, BT. I can't take the bad football anymore. And that was on both sides. Really, the quality of play around the league has been trashed through the first few weeks of the season. Clean it up. Nobody wants to sit there and watch a flag fest out on the field. It is absurd. Anyway, the Jets, again, to me, they didn't deserve to win that game. So while we could be excited about the fact that they shockingly, miraculously came back and had a lead for a half a second before they gave it away, they played putrid football all afternoon long.
Yes, they did. And I'm not going to allow the comeback, even though it fell short, to mask the fact that for the second time in 3 games, the Jets didn't look like they were ready to play football. I mean, here we are, first half. The Jets averaged 2.8 yards a play. There's 6 penalties. Now, Tampa had more, but several of which were procedural that just stagnated drives. They had a fumble. They had a pick 6. It's just in the first half, guys. They were stopped on 4th and inches. They had more missed tackles, 19 missed tackles in the game, dude. And then to me, there's a play. It's first quarter. It's 3rd and 29, and there's a penalty on Sauce. Whether or not it was a penalty or not, I mean, Sauce Gardner got absolutely abused because then he got smoked by Emeka Egbuka for a 42-yard gain.
He stinks, dude.
Sauce Gardner's doing absolutely nothing, absolutely zero. But to me, Sal, I understand there's a lot that you gotta kill from a ghost perspective to get this thing moving in the right direction. But one thing that's starting to worry me about Aaron Glenn, and I want to play this for you. It's not like over the top insane, but I've heard him now do this at every press conference, and he continues to reference what other people are saying, the media, the narratives. Listen to this, and then I want to follow up on it. Go ahead, guys.
We're not the same team as what everyone says, same old Jets. These guys are going to fight no matter what the situation is. There's no give up in them. I hate that term. And I really don't know what that term means, but I know this. They're not the same old Jets. All right, so these guys are fighters. I love these guys.
Now, I love the fact that he hates that term because every time that you drop it at me, I resist it. I'm like, no, I don't lean into the same old Jets. And I don't have an issue with him talking about his team the way they fought. I understand this is a Herculean task to get the Jets to the middle of the NFL and eventually, hopefully, beyond here. But Aaron Glenn, it's a small thing, and if he can just hear this, please, somebody get him this, because he's going to complicate his own job and his own life here. Stop talking about the narratives and stop talking about all the other stuff that happened before you got here. Just talk about the games. I think it's a disservice, Sal. It's not a smart tactic, and he's doing it every time.
The problem is, if we were going to focus on the games, his record is what it is. It's 0-3. This was the first time. See, I thought the Jets were going to be a competitive football team, button things up, be more what we saw in week 1, and be able to take advantage of a down Bucs team. Hey, it does happen in the NFL. You saw the Browns beat the Packers. Teams upset teams almost on a weekly basis. Yet in New York, it seems like an impossibility. I thought that would be one spot where the Jets would upset the Bucs. Glenn, that's the first time that he started to lose me with the way that he spoke in the postgame, with the way that he was happily clapping after the loss. No.
Yeah, and that's not even the celebration on the touchdown. That's after the game. You're talking about when he was clapping.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah. No, the fact that he was still clapping after the loss, like he was proud of his team for fighting back. No. Your team sucked all day long. By the way, it's not just Sauce Gardner, who is maybe the most overrated player. And if I was saying this last year, I'm certainly going to say it now. He's the most overrated player in the league. He is a string bean out there who's not physical at all. I don't know how the hell this guy's got voted All-Pro. What are these guys watching? I've seen great cornerbacks in my life, even recent ones. You don't have to go back to Deion Sanders, whether it's Revis, whether it's Nnamdi Asomugha. There are great cornerbacks, even some of the current guys, Surtain, whatever it may be.
Winfield's pretty good.
Dude, Sauce Gardner? What? When is he going to make a big play? When is he going to make a big play? He was getting chewed up and spit out yesterday. Matter of fact, so bad with the Jets with the stupid penalties that I'm thinking, Glenn, stop accepting the penalties. Just let them punt the football and try to kick the field goal.
That's what I was thinking,
Something's bound to happen. Yeah, it's 3rd and forever, but one mistake is going to cost you, and that's exactly what happened. Also, Garrett Wilson. How does he not come back to that ball? He leaves it up to float, change the entire game. Not that Tyrod Taylor's a great quarterback.
He played pretty well. I thought Tyrod was really just stuck his nose in there. He made some plays. He did a good job.
He is as tough as they come. However, he's also conservative.
Yeah,
he's not going to be flinging the ball down the field. But when he does,
nobody's open.
When he does, can Garrett come back to the ball and make a freaking play on it, dude? Like, those are their two best guys, Sauce and Garrett Wilson. They're supposed to lead the way.
Yeah.
And they weren't. Not to mention Brees, and the Jets can't run it. Anyway, back to Aaron Glenn for a second. That's the first time he started to lose me. I don't think that's a game where, as the head coach, you should be clapping after your team just lost at the final buzzer there.
It's not high school, man. It's not college. You know, the last thing I'm going to do is try to suck the life out of that guy and the morale and the spirit, because one of the reasons that I really and still absolutely believe in Aaron Glenn is, number one, you know, his knowledge, his experience, who he worked with, Parcells, his playing career, how he climbed the coaching tree and the ranks, all those things we talked about. But I mean, this is a man's man. This is a man with integrity and purpose and presence, right? So I'm going to bet on that stuff more than I'm not. And eventually, well, one quick sidestep.
Yeah.
What we can't do is and he uses the term instant coffee. I'll use microwave. It's the same thing. Even though they're 0-3, and it's a bad look optically, clapping, I'm with you on that, right? And they looked horrible again yesterday for 90%. They were awful for 90% of the game. Horrible, right? No excuses, horrible. But I do think that we have to understand that year one for any coach that's coming into a bad situation, yes, it's about trying to get them to eventually win, but really the first thing you got to do is you got to get rid of the guys who just don't fit what you try to do.
Right.
And there's a feeling out here. It takes a while, so let's not lose sight of the perspective. I know we're not. But to me, the most disappointing thing from yesterday is, number one, the Jets' pass protection was awful. I mean, again, talk about Tyrod Taylor sticking his beak in there and getting popped basically every play. They had 27 quarterback pressures. They had 4 sacks. I mean, and the Jets' O-line has a bunch of first-round picks on it, and I know Todd Bowles is a good defensive coach. The pass protection was horrendous. Again, 19 missed tackles. There was a swing pass to Bucky Irvin that went for 30 yards where 7 Jets missed them. The defense did nothing against a patchwork offensive line, which to me is the most disappointing aspect of what transpired. And, you know, it's too early to start giving out grades on Muji here, but they are embarrassingly thin at the second, third, and fourth wide receiver spot. Like, the Jets receivers outside of Garrett Wilson, it's expansion level, dude. It's that bad.
Yeah, okay, but to me, that's like something that he's going to have to address in the offseason and maybe year two. I would focus on Glenn and I don't want to say mixed messaging, but do you think Aaron Glenn was legitimately happy when that game went final last night or yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, there's no way he's happy. Okay. I mean, he's a winner, so he's not happy with the loss.
Me neither. So what I think is going on here, remember the negative cloud that we talked about on Friday hovering toward Aaron Glenn? He's starting to feel it with the media, with the fan base, and that pressure a little bit. And then in a spot where authentically Aaron Glenn should be rightfully annoyed with the sloppy way that his team played the majority of that game and, of course, the way that it ended, he was trying to compensate for that and not letting that negative narrative seep in and saying, hey, we fought back. This is not the same old. No. He didn't say that after week one. They played much better in week one. What did he say after week one?
No moral victories, right?
So then why is he clapping as they just got beat at the final buzzer yesterday?
Well, let me ask you a question here. So we talk about the changing of a culture. God, and it's been so elusive for both of these football teams, right? But in his mind, like, the way you change the culture eventually is to start cranking out some wins and have some belief, right? But before you get the wins, how do you change the culture? Maybe, and we'll see if it's effective. And again, it's not a great look at the pro level, but maybe in his mind, he's saying, all right, I've got to fixate on something positive, and that's the comeback, and I could use this as a little building chip to facilitate the acceleration of the building of the culture, even if we might not like him clapping. Yeah. In his mind, what's the other thing? Resignation? We lost, we're 0-3, and just have this morbid handshake and just take it on the chin and go in there? Like, I don't know what the other option is.
Be consistent. And you can say, look, we played like dog crap the majority of that game, but I'm proud of the way the guys fought back and didn't just let go of the rope. They fought back. Unfortunately, we got to make a defensive stop there. No, instead it was, we're not the same old Jets. Like, he's fighting off that narrative. He's clapping on the side, on the middle of the field. Like, it's all right, it's all right. No, like that. To me, if you watch that entire game, that was not an effort to be proud of. Where I would give them the benefit of the doubt in week one, I thought that was an effort to be proud of. No moral victories, but like, even if the Jets won that game yesterday, My take would have been, dude, that was a horrible, horrible display of football. But at least they got the win. Like, you're not going to apologize for any win. It's
Yeah, well, and Sal, think about it. If they would have gotten the win, they would have had a defensive stop at the end as well. So that would have, you would have had the block punt, Will McDonald house it, then you get a stop to win it if they would have won. And then we could at least come on the air and say, well, all right, there's one win. Now you got Miami, who's basically in a body bag, whose coach is going to get fired soon, coming up, Monday Night Football. So maybe the Jets have a chance to get to 2-2. And unlike the Giants, the Jets' schedule does soften. You're going to play the Bengals without Burrow. You're going to play the Pats a couple times. You're going to play Miami. There are wins to be had here. But when you're 0-3, nobody wants to hear it. You're 0-3.
The number one thing that Aaron Glenn cannot do under any circumstance is let any of that negative feel, the history, seep into his thought process. And I think it's already started to in week 3.
I think it's the opposite. I think by the fact that he's trying to so proactively and publicly address it and embrace it tells me that he's not feeding into it. Now, if it works, I don't know.
But he shouldn't even be acknowledging it.
That's different.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. He's already let that seep in, that negative aura and the same old Jets and, the negative feel that we've had here now at 0-3, but even with 0-2, that should not enter his thought process. He's got a job to do in rebuilding this thing. It takes a while. People will understand that. And regardless of who's writing what or who's saying what, stick to what you believe in and stick to your plan. And the way that, to me, he handled the post-game press conference or the way that he was clapping, that's where I thought that maybe he let that seep in. Now, with the celebration that he did, I had no issue with that myself. He's caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
Guy makes a great play. They miraculously just tied the game and are about to take the lead here. I did not have a problem. This is a new age. It's not Bill Parcells. It's Aaron Glenn, but it's in 2025. He's a Parcells disciple, and Bill wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, well, Bill couldn't move much.
Yeah, right. Other coaches do that. McVay does,
Robert Saleh did it the night that Rodgers got hurt. Remember when Gibson returned to the house against the Bills? He ran on the field. He jumped in a pile.
And that's not the example that I would want to use, Robert Saleh. But that to me is, I have no issue with Aaron Glenn celebrating the way that he did on the field.
All right, the day that I try to, just hold down enthusiasm and passion is the day that I'm just a joyless, miserable person. And that I hope I never become that person. I'm kind of with you. Now, I wanted to let it marinate for a little bit because I jump on and do the podcast, which, by the way, is there a dumber endeavor than to actually do a Jets podcast after every game? Honestly, I may as well sit there and stick needles in my eyeballs and call it the Needle in the Eyeball podcast instead of there's nothing more depressing than doing that. I'm sitting there on my couch just waiting for the game to end, knowing I've got to do a podcast and instant it really is miserable. But I did want to let this soak in a little bit because the reaction in real time, I'm like, I was fired up along there with him. I was, like every Jet fan. Now that I've had a full day to process it, I don't have a massive issue with it. Like you, I don't. But Sal, we're not the head coach. You've got to understand, and I'm going to give him a pass. I'm not burying him on this, but there's 1 minute and 43 seconds to go. Tampa's got a couple timeouts. They just need a field goal. You can't be that lost in the moment, even though you're incredibly enthusiastic. You got to be the CEO. Now, he's going to grow into that, and I'm going to give him some latitude to do that. I love the fire, but I prefer a little bit more balance in that moment.
Yeah, the timing of it to me is what I would have an issue. I don't have an issue with him showing emotion or going nuts after a huge play like that. The fact that he celebrated as if it was going to mean a win is where I would have an issue with that. At that particular point, you just tied the game. So I like that emotion. I like him being excited. The timing of it, where obviously the Jets didn't have the win. They didn't even have the lead at that particular point. That could be where you have a little bit of an issue. 888-808-1019. Mike is on West Long Branch, New Jersey. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I don't even understand why they gave Ahmad Gardner, I'm not even calling him Sauce anymore, all that money. Last year he was terrible. I mean, we could say how bad he is. The other teams are picking on him. It's not like Darrelle Revis is on the other side. I mean, even against Buffalo, after Josh Allen broke his nose, they bring Trubisky on 3rd and 10 and just pick on him and pick
First play.
20 yards.
First play.
3rd and 29. They just bomb it out to him. He commits a penalty. I mean, $30 million or whatever they gave this guy, I mean, it's mind-blowing. They should have made him wait. I said it in the offseason when they were talking about it. I just don't understand what they're going to do with him.
Yeah, well, I mean, what they're going to do with him is they're going to play him and they're going to pay him. That's what they're going to do, Mike. Thanks for the call. I mean, I understand he is highly overrated and he cannot tackle. He never makes any disruptive plays. There's no pick sixes. There's nothing, really. I mean, yeah, he blankets some guys, but there's just not enough bang for the buck. It's incredibly disappointing. At least Garrett Wilson makes plays. Now, they decided to pay both of them. That's why I bring Garrett Wilson into the equation. But I get it. It was a tricky, delicate balance because when you have a good player, to not keep him around, that doesn't do much for the culture either. So they were in a rough spot, and I'm sure that Aaron Glenn looked at every single snap of Gardner's career and said, I could work with this kid. He is a stud. I just got to get him right. He's not right yet.
Yeah.
They just pick on him. He's right.
And I don't want to hear about Mike Evans, who's a physical specimen and a big-time receiver. Well, that's what number one corners are supposed to do. You're a great cornerback. You got to shut him down. And Sauce Gardner can't do that. And it's not just that. It's been years to me that Sauce, I don't care how many All-Pros he's gotten. I'm watching these games here. Sauce does not do nearly enough to me to be justified as an All-Pro or one of the best cornerbacks in the league.